dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky. This is WYMT Mountain News Weekend Edition.
Good morning, I'm Katie Cook. Today is Saturday, June 13th. Governor Andy Beshear did not hold a coronavirus briefing yesterday, but did provide updated numbers. Governor Beshear announced 331 new cases, and that brings the statewide case count to 12,166. Now, there were 4 new deaths on Friday, and now the death toll sits at 497. 3,390 Kentuckians have recovered from the virus, and 315,068 tests have been administered throughout the state. Now, for more information on COVID-19, you can head over to our website, WYMT.com. Well, the statue of Confederate President Jefferson Davis will be removed from the state capitol rotunda. An 11-to-1 vote Friday afternoon determined the statue will be taken down and moved. WYMT's Phil Pendleton was at the Capitol, where work is already starting.
He rebelled against the United States of America.
Meeting virtually on Zoom, the Kentucky Historic Properties Advisory Commission called by Governor Andy Beshear to consider the removal of the statue that's been in the state capitol since the late 1930s. The vote was 11-to-1 to remove it. It was a bipartisan vote, and both Republicans and Democrats told us today they were in support of it.
We need to learn from Jefferson Davis. We need to learn from all the sins of our past, no doubt about it, but not in this space. And so I'm happy that this is a wonderful day, that in a way, Abraham Lincoln will not have to look over his right shoulder anymore at Jefferson Davis behind him.
Today is a move towards showing that everybody is welcome in this building, and that our government should work for the betterment of every single Kentuckian.
Only one person voted against the removal of the statue, saying he joined the commission board to, quote, protect history and not remove it. And tonight, the Black Lives Matter movement is making its way to Prestonsburg. A peaceful gathering will take place at the city's main stage to demand change. Organizers say the group will meet at the stage and hear from guest speaker Charles Booker before marching around the city streets. Mayor Les Stapleton says he and the city's first responders are prepared to lend a hand.
It's not a protest, it's not a riot, something like that. So we don't need any of that stuff. We don't need people thinking that stuff. We don't need people saying that stuff. What we need is people to understand they have a right to be heard, and we're going to give them that opportunity to be heard.
The rally starts at 6:30 p.m. and will include prayer and a personal testimony. A man is in jail following an incident at the Black Lives Matter event in Moorhead last weekend. According to WMKY in Moorhead, Marty Horton was yelling racist slurs and using inappropriate hand gestures. Authorities received a complaint from a restaurant about Horton, and he was later pulled over. Horton is facing charges of DUI, disorderly conduct, and assault on a corrections employee. He is currently on probation and may face additional charges. Yesterday, the public was invited to say their goodbyes to David McCady. 53-year-old McCady was shot and killed on June 1st. The National Guard, along with LMPD, were called to disperse a crowd in Louisville. State investigators believe McCady fired 2 shots and then was killed when a guardsman returned fire. The public viewing was at St. Stephen Church in Louisville and ended at 8 p.m. The funeral is set for today at Cannon Christian Church. And yesterday afternoon, Louisville Mayor Greg Fisher signed Breonna's Law, which bans no-knock warrants after the death of Breonna Taylor. The series of police forms was passed by Metro Council last night and officially became law around 2:30 Friday afternoon. As the bill passed last night, the group of protesters in Jefferson Square erupted into cheers and applause. Mayor Fisher says this afternoon that change is here and more change is coming.
Thank you to those whose emphatic cries of enough have fueled the marches, the protests, the movement, sweeping our country, sweeping our city, have filled the streets of America and helped bring us to this moment.
Fisher says the passage of Breonna's Law is just one small victory in the fight for justice, peace, and equality. And others say they are in favor of seeing the statue taken out of the rotunda. A handful of people protested the removal outside the Capitol. Victor Puente explains why they think the statue shouldn't be removed.
Even before the Historic Properties Advisory Committee voted to remove the statue of Jefferson Davis, protester Ron King knew he was fighting a losing battle.
This is a done deal. I'm out here, I already know it's a done deal. And I'm still out here voicing my opinion and stuff because it's not right. There was no public hearings. This was announced beforehand.
King came from Estill County to protest that removal. These three came from Corbin. They told me they had ancestors who fought in the Civil War. They didn't agree with that statue coming down. I asked King about the Capitol Rotunda being a place of honor.
Honor comes from a lot of things, and one of the things that honor is derived from is standing up for your beliefs. People that stand up for their beliefs have respect, they have honor.
Shortly after that vote, Adrian Wallace with the Kentucky chapter of the NAACP told me this was a move they had been wanting to see for years.
We praise Governor Beshear for his decision to remove Jefferson Davis from the Capitol's rotunda. It was put there in 1936 as a point to rewrite history, to intimidate blacks in Kentucky, and it should have never been there. He was a traitor to this nation, and we celebrate the removal.
The statue was put in place more than 70 years after the Civil War. Wallace says they applaud the move, but also asked the governor for changes to state policy.
We will also say that we still want to see other true change, and that includes the executive order request that we sent this week, asking him to allow for civilian oversight of police misconduct in the Commonwealth.
In Frankfort, Victor Puente, WKYT.
The statue will be moved to the Jefferson Davis State Historic Site in Todd County in western Kentucky. It's not known when it will be moved there. Now let's check in with meteorologist Brooke Marshall for a look at your forecast this morning. Brooke, the last 2 days have been nice and hot. Will we see this trend continue today?
We are going to see that, Katie. We're going to see beautiful conditions today. It's going to be a little bit more comfortable, though. We're going to be seeing some cooler temperatures, but other than that, I mean, very nice conditions. And we're already starting out great. Let me take you to some of our cameras here this morning. If you look out into the WYMT studio camera here in Hazard, I mean, you can just see beautiful conditions already start out. Pretty dry. A little bit of fog there at the top of the mountains, though. If you look towards the tops, you can see just a little bit of patchy fog this morning. You can see that as well into our downtown Whitesburg camera. Just a little bit of fog, so be careful if you are headed out early this morning within the next hour or so, because we are seeing just a little bit of patchy fog in the region, but not looking too bad. And other than that, we're clear sailing for the rest of the day. I mean, temperatures really on the cooler side, anywhere from those mid-50s to those lower 60s this morning, but we are going to warm up as we go throughout the rest of the day. And overall, it's just going to be beautiful outside. So if you want to get outside, get some exercise, we're good to go all day. Green lights, not really going to see any alerts today for our running forecast. So absolutely beautiful conditions, and we're just going to be seeing another wonderful day here in the mountains. Katie?
All right, sounds good. Thank you, Brooke. A Kentucky teen who pleaded guilty to killing 2 schoolmates in a 2018 school shooting has been ordered to serve 2 life sentences. Gabe Parker was sentenced via teleconference by Marshall County Circuit Judge James Jamison on Friday afternoon. Media outlets report Parker will also receive 70 years in prison for 14 counts of assault and will be eligible for parole in 20 years. Parker was 15 when he fired a handgun into a crowd of students before classes started at Marshall County High School. He was tried as an adult. And a southern Kentucky man is accused of destroying medical equipment. Deputies say Sean Barnett was taken home from the Lake Cumberland Regional Hospital. He refused to get out of the ambulance and began threatening EMTs. He was arrested for the threats, and while the EMTs were transporting Barnett to the jail, deputies say he broke $20,000 worth of medical equipment. He is charged with terroristic threatening, criminal mischief, and other charges. Junior's Hibachi in Hazard is helping out a local woman who is battling cancer. Sherry Mullins is in week 2 of 6 of her treatments for astrocytoma, a form of brain cancer. To help with her medical expenses, Junior's Hibachi held a dinner and bake sale in Hindman to raise money. The restaurant sold $10 meals and baked goods to help raise the funds for the woman who helped them get their start.
We couldn't have all this for her, and then we just wanted to give back. And I found out all that stuff happened, and we just wanted to get back to her and try to help her out and make our part and just do what we could, try to raise some money for her and her family.
100% of the profit from the fundraiser will go to Sherry's medical expenses. Well, it's that time of year when summer heat sends more people to the lake. But as we see a large crowd on the waters, keeping safe out on the lakes remains crucial. WYMT's Connor James stopped by Carr Fork Marina in Knott County and talked with workers there about how safety nowadays somewhat has a dual meaning.
We go to the lake to get away. Time out on the open water under the summer sun provides a break from the day-to-day. But that calm can abruptly come to an end if proper precautions aren't followed.
And just really be responsible with trash in the water or a log in the water. Just make sure you're always aware of your surroundings.
Baron Blackford works at Carr Fork Marina. Safety here now has a new duality to it.
We try to cap our boats at 8 people. We don't want our boats overcrowded, especially during a time like this.
During a pandemic, how things run here looks different.
Especially right now. Practice social distancing even on the water. You know, we provide something that's wide open where you don't have to be right up on each other. You know, stay 6 feet apart even on the boats.
Boats here are cleaned thoroughly. Outside of COVID though, following the rules of the lake provide a safer experience for everyone.
Life jackets it's safety. If there were, an accident to happen, if you fall in the water, whatever it may be, the life jacket keeps you afloat until someone can actually help you, get you up, whatever you need.
Life jackets on each boat and of course boating sober are a must. This smaller lake provides a more watched over atmosphere.
Our pontoons, they're very safe as far as, you're not breaking speed limits or anything. It's very controlled.
As for getting out of the boat, they recommend you stay close if you're going to swim in the water and always be in eyesight of others.
And it's just all about being responsible and just knowing your surroundings of where you're at on the water.
In Knott County, Connor James, WYMT Mountain News.
Officials also say if you're on a smaller boat like a kayak or paddleboard, be aware of bigger boats and vice versa. Well, you don't have much time to request your absentee ballot. Monday is the last day to request one. It's highly recommended Kentuckians vote by absentee ballot this year because of the pandemic. Secretary of State Michael Adams says he's working to get extra funding to help make processing the ballots go quicker. If you don't get your ballot in time, you can still vote in person. You can request a ballot online at govoteky.com. Kentucky's primary is June 23rd. We now know when students at Alice Lloyd College may return to classes this fall. President Joe Stepp sent out a letter to faculty and staff and students saying the school will reopen August 18th and continue through November 25th. To make up for a shortened semester, there will be no fall break. And coming up on Mountain News this morning, a Breathitt County senior is receiving a lot of attention from recruiters and drawing some international interest.
And this weekend is looking pretty nice. I'll have your full forecast coming up.